We're from the town with the great football team. Ba-da-da-da, we cheer the Pittsburgh Steelers. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Back here again on a Monday, talking Pittsburgh sports. Here with you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I am your host, Brady Vini. What a weekend it was. I didn't even get the intro to the show right because we are actually happy. What a weekend we are coming out of. It is, after all, the most wonderful time of the year with Christmas right around the corner. But this past weekend, it truly brought a joy to the Pittsburgh sports world. You really couldn't have drawn it up any better, to be honest. The Steelers, they get a statement win against the Detroit Lions. The hated Baltimore Ravens, Flacco, if you're in here already, they lose, blowing another lead, and they fall further and further back in the division race. The Pittsburgh Penguins, they won a game last night. That's pretty cool. They snapped, I believe, a 8 or 9 game losing streak, and Sidney Crosby made some history in that. We're still feeling pretty good about the Pittsburgh Pirates as well. They just making a trade on Friday that we are still pretty excited about. So all in all, vibes pretty high right now. Perfect weekend that makes us all feel very merry and bright. And here we go again tonight to talk all about it. We're actually going to start on a pretty negative note here this evening. We are going to start off the show with some breaking news within the past couple of minutes surrounding Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf and what all happened to him in that game against the Detroit Lions yesterday. After that, we will get into the Steelers and Lions game from yesterday, breaking down what all happened, including that very crazy ending that I'm sure all of us are still trying to process exactly what happened. We also will get into some winners and losers that I have come up with for Steelers and Lions. And then afterwards, we'll talk a little bit about Penguins hockey, a little bit about Pittsburgh Pirates baseball, and anything else that we get into. But first things first, before we get into any of that, of course, if you are new here, welcome to the live stream. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing here on the channel. Again, also leave a like on this live stream, share this live stream, leave a comment in the comment section. Any thoughts, questions, or opinions that you may have, please get those in there. I have a feeling it is going to be very full tonight with your comments talking about that game yesterday and about DK Metcalf, which we will get into here in a moment. Going to get into the Metcalf situation right now, and then we'll get back here to the comment section because Concepts is already getting us started in the comment section talking about that. Let's dive right into it. The breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, I think within the past half hour now, DK Metcalf being suspended 2 games by the NFL for an altercation that he had with a fan yesterday. The official post from Adam Schefter, you are looking at here right now on your screen. Metcalf suspended 2 games. He still can appeal, which Schefter just came out a moment ago and said that Metcalf plans to appeal the suspension. We'll get into all the details of the situation in order of what we got them yesterday. But right now, Metcalf slated to miss the Steelers' upcoming game this weekend, or I should say next weekend, against the Cleveland Browns. I think we all can agree Browns 3-11. The way this team's humming right now, do we really need Metcalf in that game? I would hopefully think not. But the one that may hurt, just in case you do not beat the Browns, Metcalf being out against the Ravens in Week 18 as well, that one could be more serious for him to miss if the division comes down to that game. But Metcalf does plan to appeal his suspension. The official release from the NFL right here: Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf has been suspended without pay for 2 games for conduct detrimental to the NFL for initiating a physical confrontation with a fan during Sunday's game against the Detroit Lions. Metcalf's actions violate league policy, which specifies that players may not enter the stands or otherwise confront fans at any time on game day, and if a player makes unnecessary physical contact with a fan in any way that constitutes unsportsmanlike conduct or presents crowd control issues and or risk of injury, he will be held accountable. Metcalf will be eligible to return to the Steelers' active roster on Monday, January 5th, following the team's games in Week 17 and Week 18. Under the collective bargaining agreement, Metcalf can appeal his suspension. A prompt hearing will be held by the commissioner or his designee. So Metcalf suspended by the NFL. That is the official release just a couple of moments ago. Metcalf does plan to appeal, as Schefter just said, just sort of giving us a reminder of what all happened yesterday, some of the stuff that was heard and discovered after the game. DK Metcalf, this is around the second quarter, goes over to the stands, but right behind the Steelers bench. And it was weird because no coach or player saw Metcalf go over there. Metcalf goes over. What they showed on CBS was Metcalf grabbing a Detroit Lions fan. At least I think he's wearing a Lions shirt, but he's holding what appears to be a Metcalf jersey. This fan with long blue hair leans over the railing saying something at Metcalf. Metcalf grabs his hair, and then with that same fistful of hair with his right hand appears to take a punching gesture upwards. Didn't look like from initial, view there that Metcalf made a whole lot of contact, but that was a talking point during the game, and it was certainly a talking point throughout the rest of the game as well. Metcalf afterwards reportedly did not stick around in the visitors' locker room. He apparently got out there quickly. You had this woman right here, Kimberly A. Martin, who does work for ESPN. She said that she saw Metcalf leaving the locker room before it was open to the media. She went up to him and asked him what happened with the fan. Metcalf did not respond. Mike Tomlin, Steelers head coach, he was asked about it, the situation after the game as well. He said that he heard about it, but didn't want to have any comment until he knew exactly what had happened. He said, "I don't know when I was made aware of it," says Tomlin. So he's pleading the fifth, not talking about it there. We found out after the game who this person was. This person is named right here. Ryan Kennedy is the name. Apparently, he also goes by. Apparently he has a podcast or something as well. This guy, he said after the game to the Detroit Free Press, who was able to track him down, he said that he called Metcalf by his full government name, Decalen Zacharias Metcalf. His quote here, "He doesn't like his government name. I called him that, and then he grabbed me and ripped my shirt. I'm a little shocked, like everyone's talking to me. I'm a little rattled, but I just want the Lions to win, baby." So that was the quote there from the fan in the altercation. But Metcalf said that he called Metcalf by his full government name. There was then another angle of it closer to the situation earlier today. We didn't get a good sound of what exactly was said there, but was to the left of the altercation. That video, Tom Pelissero with a report said that Metcalf, according to sources, has had a history with this Lion fan that he confronted Sunday. Metcalf reported the same fan to the Seahawks security team last season when he was playing with Seattle. The NFL is reviewing the incident more. That was this morning. A source close to Metcalf. This is when we got a little bit more of Metcalf's side of the story here. A source close to Metcalf who identified himself as Ryan Kennedy. A source said that Metcalf's mom was called a derogatory word by the fan. Also, there was a word said about Metcalf, a racial slur. A source close to Metcalf is saying. So this fan, from Metcalf's point of view here, allegedly called his mother a bad word and called Metcalf an equally as terrible bad word. So right now you got one side saying one thing, saying I just called him by his government name. You got another side here in Metcalf's case, saying that he used a racial slur and was saying ill stuff about his mother. The fan, Kennedy, went through his attorney, I believe, and denied the claims made by Metcalf, or the sources speaking for Metcalf's behalf. Quote, categorically, this person, Kennedy, categorically denies using the N-word and the C-word or any racial, misogynistic, or hate-based slur. That is from the Head Murphy Law Group, who is the attorney for this Mr. Ryan Kennedy in this situation. And the last thing that we saw before the suspension was handed out, we did get a video pretty close, I'd say about 2 seats away from where the fan was sitting. And this is an onlooking view of the field of play. You can hear, I think, in the video, the fan saying Metcalf's name, but you cannot hear him. I think he moves closer to the railing. This fan, I think he was sitting a couple seats up from the field of play, and then when he moved down to the railing, that is when you kind of lose any sense of being able to make out what he's saying. It's really not all that audible. That is when Metcalf comes over and delivers the punch to the fan, grabbing his hair as well. So right now, this whole thing is really, really crazy right now. Not going to incriminate anyone, say Metcalf is in the wrong, say the fan is in the wrong. Really, they're both in the wrong. I mean, fans can heckle, but, calling out a player by name, I don't really like that stuff all the time. Also, Metcalf in that situation definitely needs to keep his cool. I don't know. I don't care what is said. There's some sort of professionalism that also needs to be held up by the player as well in this situation. And I said yesterday that we saw something like this before, where you had a Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher moving over to baseball. We saw the same thing just this previous season with the Buccos. Pirates reliever Dennis Santana out there in the bullpen. A fan, I believe, made a comment, or according to Santana, the fan made a comment about Santana's deceased mother, if I'm correct. And Santana ended up taking a jumping swipe at the fan before security got there. So we have seen this, unfortunately, earlier this year in Pittsburgh sports. But this Metcalf situation getting almost 10 times the publicity compared to what Santana did. So right now, that is all we knew. Everything I just stated. Metcalf grabs a fan's hair, delivers a punching gesture towards the fan. Metcalf did not get ejected from the game after that, even though we'll get into him a little bit more, what he did in the game. Metcalf, in my opinion, didn't have the best game. The fan says he called him by his government name. That's what led to the altercation. Metcalf, or the sources around Metcalf, say that he was saying some pretty POS human stuff. Right now, no legal action, I think, is being taken in the matter, but Metcalf is being suspended by the NFL for 2 games, barring an appeal. And I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. Like I said, let's keep things, clean here in the comment section. We don't know exactly what is fact. The only thing we know for fact right now is Metcalf is suspended, and that he took a swipe at the fan. We don't know exactly what's true or not and who said what in this situation. So I just want to get your guys' thoughts on this. We'll go to the comment section right now. Concepts, he brings up a situation in the NFL earlier this year that is similar, but also, a little bit different from this. Bringing up Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I forget where they were, but there was a situation where a fan, while the Ravens were celebrating a touchdown over near the wall, pushed DeAndre Hopkins, I think, and Lamar ended up giving a push back at the fan. Lamar later apologized, I think. Lamar hit a fan earlier in the season and got no suspension or a fine. According to the rules used against DK, Lamar should have been suspended, whether that was self-defense or not. Concepts bringing that up. NFL keeps proving it's all fake and rigged. Yes, yeah. I love you, Concepts, and all of the stuff you bring. I'm not going to get into that right now. Just talking about the facts out there right now. We're not going to be, claiming what's rigged, claiming this, that, NFL's rigged, Metcalf should be getting nothing from this. I don't know. But I do appreciate this comment, though. Concepts. Time for another SCSR therapy session. Not too much therapy, hopefully, today. We're actually pretty happy for once. We get to talk about good things. The Steelers won. The Penguins won. Crosby makes history. The Steelers look like I wanted to save this for the end of the game recap, but dare I say the Steelers look like they could make a run to the big game the way they're playing right now, getting hot, unleashing hell in December. The Pirates made a big trade last week. Hopefully more good moves are still to come here. So yeah, good stuff to talk about here. Roller coaster of emotions indeed there at the end. Concepts. I agree with you there. W intro singing the Pittsburgh polka there. It's how we all feeling. That song playing on a repeat in our heads right now. We got a commenter, I believe we haven't seen in here before, or at least it's been a while here. Patrick Hughes in here. Welcome, Patrick, as well, saying fire DK Metcalf, get him off the team. And then he brings up his stats from the year. DK having an underwhelming season for making $30 million. There's been certain stretches where he's played like a $30 million player. Started off the year pretty well, catching a touchdown pass every game. Then when the team had that slide in late October, early November, he was really rough to watch as well, just running cardio out there. And then as of late, Metcalf has picked it up a little bit more. The game yesterday, though, was certainly a step backwards. Don't really agree with this one. Fire Metcalf, pick up Amari Cooper. No, Amari Cooper pretty much retired. He walked off the Raiders, and no team has touched him since then. So Amari Cooper, that's like saying let's go and pick up. Trying to go back through my Rolodex of wide receivers here. It's like saying let's go and pick up Marcus Golden off the scrap heap to play outside linebacker, even though he retired in the preseason as well. So. Yeah, not really doing anything like that right now. Could, though, I believe I saw a comment here. We could do what this one here says. Go get Alan Lazard. I mean, Metcalf is going to be suspended 2 games. That opens up a spot on your roster. You can bring in Lazard for a couple of games and say, hey, we got a bunch of guys in here, all of whom are playing pretty well right now. I'd like to go out on a limb here and say, besides Metcalf with his antics and dropping a couple of balls yesterday, all other wide receivers, I was pleased with their performances. Maybe you go get Alan Lazard to fill in for Metcalf, and go with the old Mike Tomlin analogy. We got a certain allotted number of roster spots and a certain number of bones. Like 4 or 5 of you are making the team for playoffs. One's going home. I wouldn't mind that situation there. Go in here. Metcalf, read more comments on Metcalf here. Concepts and Patrick Hughes going at it right there. Freight Train, glad to have you back here, Freight Train. How many games was he suspended? It is 2 right now, Freight Train. 2 games for Metcalf. He will appeal the suspension. I think regardless of what the appeal goes for here, he at least will be suspended against the Browns game, which, like I said, the Cleveland game, they're 3-11. Shador's playing really rocky football right now. He tore up his pinky before the Steelers game yesterday. So I would like to hope the way that the Steelers are trending and the way that the Browns are trending, that, you could win that game coming up in Cleveland without Metcalf. But the thing where I maybe am having a tiny bit of false hope that his suspension will be appealed. You guys brought up the Lamar Jackson situation. Similar, though it does have some different characteristics. Lamar wasn't suspended. So Metcalf, I think he gets one, but I think where the Steelers and Metcalf may make an argument like, all right, you didn't suspend Lamar, but you suspended Metcalf 2 games. Let's take it down to 1 here because you didn't do it with Lamar. Also, do you really want this situation, which it'll be a hot talking point for maybe another week, and then once the NFL, game cycle goes through again, no one's going to really be talking about this situation again. I think the Steelers And Metcalf may have a choice saying, hey, don't let this hold out Metcalf for the final game of the year when that could come down to the division. So really interested to see where they go with this appeal. I think they might have a chance of getting it reduced to 1 just because the NFL, they might want to rid themselves of any sort of partaking or effect in that Week 18 game against Baltimore, should the division for the AFC North come down to that. Patrick Hughes in here, and Concepts continuing to go at it here. Freight Train, okay, doesn't matter. Ravens going to lose Saturday, and we will sit starters. That would be ideal if the Ravens were to lose to the Packers on Saturday before the Steelers play the Browns on Sunday. Then I think, the Metcalf whole thing, the suspension of it. I mean, the situation, it's still terrible, but the suspension, it'll be a more of a who cares situation, especially if the 2 games does get upheld. And it's not like the Steelers are going to be sitting a whole bunch of guys Week 18 anyways. So Metcalf certainly would have been one of them. If he suspended that game, it won't be no harm, no foul. Going here to the comments section. Let's keep it clean here, guys. Seeing some keep it clean here, Patrick. Gonna do that right now. Let's go more here through the comments section on this situation. We got THP in here. Welcome, THP. Or going to where did I leave off here in the comment section? Here we go. Truth coming in here. Truth can't be saying that sort of stuff either. Let's come on, keep it clean here, guys. It's Christmas after all. Let's not be getting at each other over this. THP here figured the suspension was coming. To be honest, I give the benefit of the doubt, but this is good too for many to avoid repercussion because of the words. Yeah, keeping things clean in here, guys. I did know that the suspension was coming. That was, I think, a given. 1 game, though, I thought it would be that. 2 games, though. Am I surprised? No, but could it maybe be a tiny bit harsh? Maybe. We'll see. Let's listen into Greg Olson this morning, says THP, on Wake Up Barstool. And Olson vouches for DK as a nice guy, but gets emotional in games, which is understandable. I mean, usually the preconceived notion about Metcalf coming to Pittsburgh was that is purely off on the field stuff that he gets emotional and loses his cool. But that one, do you count it as on the field, off the field? I don't really know. You got Olson vouching for him as a good guy. You then, speaking of sources closest to Metcalf, saying that racial slurs and words on his mom were used. You had Chad Ochocinco, the former Bengals wide receiver, on a podcast, I believe, with Shannon Sharp or someone, saying that the fan said that as well. So you got another player on Metcalf's side of this as well. THP here. All of this is ruining it for fans that want to be close to the sidelines, etc. Yeah, I mean, usually fans there, at least on the home side, they love being there. But yeah, my thing is that where were security and teammates in that scenario? I'm surprised that for as big and important to the team Metcalf is, that nobody saw him, starting to lurk over that way or anything. So I wonder what that is about as well. Go in here. Again, keep scrolling here. Please keep things clean in the comment section, guys. Freight Train here as well. Switching over to Hockey Bro. Penn's finally winning in a shootout was huge. Shalov's finally making a save. I was like, no way. That was how we were feeling as well. I also was screaming the whole time. Can we please mix it up? Not just do your whole Russ, Crosby, and then Chris Letang lineup. They actually put out Kevin Hayes to start. I was like, all right, outside the box thinking, and that worked. Then Ricard Raquel with a filthy move, undressing the goaltender. And yeah, Shalov's making the save. The Pens won a game, and they won a game in a shootout, I think, for the first time since early last season as well. So I was able to play some God Is by Kanye West and sort of like, thank you. They did it. They won a game in a shootout there. Go in here. THP still talking about hockey. We will get into that later on in the show. Crazy that Super Mario missed age 29, 31, 32, and 33, I think, as well. Yeah, Mario definitely missed a ton of time in his career with the whole cancer and the back issues. Gotta wonder, could Mario have made a case for best player in hockey history if he's able to stay healthy throughout his career? I know Sid, is on a similar career path. He wasn't healthy all of his career, concussion issues and all that, but Mario there, 29, 31, 32, 33, those are still prime years for a hockey player. So, yeah, it just sucks for that, but hey, glad to see the Penguins win and the Steelers win. My dad here bringing this one up. We will be all right. We got Scotty Miller, indeed. That's all I'm saying. Do I feel like the past couple of games have made the loss of Metcalf as big as a death blow as what it looks like on paper? No. I mean, we'll get into these guys in the winners and losers segment of the Steelers game here in a little bit, but Adam Thielen played a good game, made some clutch third down catches. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he was pretty much playing the wide receiver 2 role. Calvin Austin with a solid game, I thought. Scotty Miller doing his thing. And Ben Skoranek, not going to really mention him with the wide receivers right now because he's still got his hand wrapped up, I think, so he hasn't been playing any offensive snaps. But, yeah, Scotty Miller, it's going to be his legend game in Cleveland. Go in here to the comment section. All of you here talking about the Metcalf situation. A little wary of popping up these comments on the screen right now. News is very fresh. Tension are high. It's just ridiculous, the favoritism, but great win regardless there, says Concepts. Great win regardless. Let's keep that in mind as well. Truth here, talking about the Pens need to jettison Malkin and Letang. Letang, you can maybe talk to me on that one because he's been terrible this year. I think even he would say his play has not been as good. But Malkin, though, you are not getting rid of Evgeny Malkin right now because this whole losing streak that the Pens have been on, it started when Malkin went out, and for the first half of the season, he was one of the Pens' best players. So, yeah, Malkin ain't going anywhere. Let's go here to the comment section. We got another comment in here as well from Rands87. Welcome again, Rands. Crazy how Lamar got away. Guys keep bringing up the Lamar situation. Scotty Miller and White Lightning from Truth. Scotty Miller and Scotty we trust. It's Miller time. Remember, he did have a hell of a season. What was it? With the Buccaneers when they won the Super Bowl. He was that little niche player. You had Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, but you also had Scotty Miller, who was Brady's bread and butter there for a little bit. They can lose just as well with Malkin gone. What I'm saying is that Malkin, this whole losing streak started when he went out. When he was in, Malkin was playing well, and the team was playing well too. Also, I think when you talk about Malkin, we'll get more into the Penguins later on. This will be the last thing I say about them for now. I think one thing that we take for granted is Malkin has sneakily been good defensively this year. Very responsible in the D zone this year has been Malkin. So, yeah, getting him back would be pretty huge. Rand's here, another great comment. Third down's improving. Adam had been a huge addition. Heck of Scotty's third and short yesterday. That was clutch as well. Yeah, Scotty Miller for like 3 straight plays. The ball was his way, and he made fantastic play every time. The one, I think, was tight coverage, and he was able to hold on to the ball. The other, the toe tapper on the sideline. So Scotty Miller, he got a chance. His number was called, and he did not miss it. You gotta give credit to him right there. Concepts here. Yeah, all of you guys, we're all good. I know everyone's frustrated and everybody's got their own opinions here, but let's keep things positive. Let's focus on the things that truly matter in the football world right here. Let's move over. 16 of you in here right now. Please subscribe to the channel. Get your comments and questions in the comments section. Let's move over to that game yesterday itself and away from the DK Metcalf situation. The Steelers, outstanding yesterday. They played the third game of a 3-game stretch where each game, I think, had the rest advantage on the Steelers, and not many people gave the Steelers a whole lot of fighting chance against the Lions. The Lions backs against the wall, fighting for their playoff lives. The Steelers, still trying to keep ahead of the Ravens in the AFC North race. Both teams 8-6, and lots of playoff implications on this game yesterday. Both teams went into yesterday's game as well with some pretty banged up defenses. The Steelers down to pretty much 2 outside linebackers, and the Lions, their secondary being strung together by hopes and dreams right now. But hey, both teams, they still had offenses that they were feeling pretty good about. Before the game even kicked off yesterday, going to start the recap now, the Steelers had their first self-inflicted error of the day. We found out post-game yesterday that the Steelers on the opening coin toss were supposed to elect to receive the opening kickoff. Mike Tomlin asked Aaron Rodgers pregame, do you want us to take, how you feel about us taking the ball? And Rodgers said, yeah, let's do it. But Cam, when he went out there, he said he blacked out, elected to take the second half kick, and he went to the sidelines, and Rodgers and Tomlin were like, what's going on? And Hayward's like, I'm sorry, I blacked out. I don't know what I did there. So something about controversial coin flips in Detroit for some reason. That decision, though, for the Steelers, putting the defense on the field to begin the ball game. The defense, they didn't look unprepared for the moment, though. Opening drive of the game, Keanu Benton, a sack on Lions quarterback Jared Goff. That pretty much shut down the Detroit opening drive immediately. They went 3 and out. The Steelers offense, similarly, their first offensive drive of the game, it too was derailed by a sack near midfield, and they had to settle for a 59-yard Chris Boswell field goal. Bos still automatic, though. Should we start to worry about him? We'll get to that here in a little bit. Took a tiny bit for the Lions offense to get going on their next drive, but Jared Goff, he started to cook with the passing game. That took Detroit all the way down to the Steelers' 3-yard line, and that is when our $160, $170 million defense that prepared for those moments all preseason and training camp long with the 7-shots drill, they stiffened up at the right time. The Lions on first, second, third and goal couldn't do it. Young players all around making big plays. I think Y.A. Black made a big play. Jack Sawyer, want to say Brandon Eccles made a play there as well. And then fourth and goal, Goff looking for Amon-Ra St. Brown in the end zone, broken up by Joey Porter Jr. They turned the ball over on downs. Outstanding stuff there from the defense on their first big test of the ball game. After that, the Steelers, they didn't get much going, and they punted the ball back to Detroit. Again, Goff picked up where he left off, hitting his top receiving targets, Jamison Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown. A few incompletions, though, that forced the Lions to settle for 3 and tie the game. The game turned into a punting fest for the remainder of the first quarter and a little bit of the second quarter as well. 3 straight drives ended in 3 and outs, 2 for the Steelers, 1 for the Lions. The Lions then broke that trend. They had a 6-play, 62-yard drive with a minute 55 left in the first half. The Lions, they had no running game, but Goff pinpoint accurate with his passes. It was capped off by a 20-yard strike right up the middle to Isaac Tesla. He took a big hit, I think, from Kyle Duggar on the play as well. So just kudos to that young man holding on to it. Great stuff from the Lions on offense. Even greater stuff, though, following it up from the Steelers offense. I think at that point we had a bit of an uneasy feeling that the Steelers were going to fall behind a bit and they needed a big play from their offense. And that is what they got. After 2 incompletions to start their drive, Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers' 2-minute offense, they clicked. Dinking and dunking, 7 to 8 yard gains all the way to around midfield. And then one of the crazier plays you will see from the Steelers this season. Rodgers makes an adjustment at the line. He sends Kenneth Gainwell out wide as a wide receiver, and he's got a linebacker covering him as well. Rodgers takes the snap, uncorks one deep for Gainwell. Gainwell draws the pass interference penalty, but as he is on the ground, he still focuses on the ball and catches it. And then he had the wherewithal as well to realize he was not touched. So he got up and ran the extra 12 yards or so into the end zone for the touchdown. Easily the most insane catch of the season for the Steelers, the most insane play, period, of the season for the Steelers. And it tied the game at 10 heading into halftime. That really gave a shot in the arm to the Steelers for the remainder of the game, I think. And at that point, the second week in a row, the Steelers, they had a chance to do a double score coming out of half. So you felt really confident. Really, it's kind of weird. We haven't felt all that confident about the Steelers at halftime at all this season, but this time was a little bit different. To begin the second half, the Steelers started with the ball. They got the ball back after deferring in the first half. The running game with Jaylen Warren and Rodgers passing the ball, a steady mix of both there. They got the Steelers on the doorstep of the end zone again. Unfortunately, a rare mistake and a rare negative play for big Darnell Washington. He's been on a tear for most of the season. Washington got the ball out in space at around the 5-yard line as he's getting tackled down to the ground. He is holding the ball out there, just free to be punched out. That's exactly what happens. The Lions recover. Aaron Rodgers, he tried to get the offense lined up to run another play because the officials didn't realize it was a fumble. But before Rodgers could get the snap off, the Steelers were changing personnel, and the referees saw that Detroit threw the challenge flag. So they overturn the call on the field. The Lions get the ball back at their own 3-yard line. But the Steelers defense, they, playing complementary football, pick up and bail out Washington and the Steelers offense. 2 plays, didn't really give them a whole lot of breathing room. On third down, Goff takes the snap, drops back into his own end zone. A blitz from Kyle Duggar, the safety from the nickel spot, I believe, not picked up by the Lions. Duggar takes down Goff in the end zone for a safety, and that made it a 12-10 game for the Steelers. Excellent play design by the Steelers. Excellent execution as well. The Steelers, they had to thank the defense for that safety. They did thank them, and they gave them a bit of a vacation as well. The offense getting the ball back after that. They went on a long 17-play drive that ate up nearly 10 minutes of clock. That is an offense with the lead wet dream right there, chewing up that much clock, playing that many plays as well. They converted multiple 3rd and 4th downs. That's where we saw, the Adam Thielen and Scotty Miller show. But then penalty trouble in the red zone. That cost the Steelers. Darnell Washington got called for offensive pass interference. I think there was another false start or offsides or something as well. So the Steelers, as good as that drive looked, and it felt like they were just having their way with the Lions defense, like a cat playing with a mouse. The Steelers ended up having to settle for 3 because of penalty issues. The Lions reeling offense. After that, they couldn't get anything going. Again, 3 straight incompletions from Jared Goff. 3 and out goes the Lions offense. Steelers offense back on the field again. That long drive before really wore down the Detroit defense, and they finally broke that defense as on the 4th play of the drive, Jaylen Warren just finds a little opening, bursts through it, turns on the Jets, 45-yard touchdown run for number 30. Explosive run from him that we haven't seen a whole lot of this season. It was really good to see that from number 30, showing that he is 100% healthy, was sick last week against the Miami Dolphins, but showed no signs of illness there. Steelers fans were pretty confident with a little over 12 minutes left, but then the Lions, they remembered that their offense is one of the top offenses in the NFL. 2-minute drill offense for the rest of the game for Detroit against the Steelers defense, which is pretty bad at stopping hurry-up offenses. Jared Goff kept getting those quick, short gains with his receivers against the Steelers' prevent defense. They dink and dunked their way, death by 1,000 paper cuts, it felt like, down the field until Khalif Raymond for the Lions, a crossing route, catches it in stride, 27-yard scamper for the touchdown there. Was a bit of a reality check, I think, for all of us, saying, like, hey, the Lions, they aren't just going to, roll over and go away here. This time around, though, the Steelers, they were able to bail out the defense and, give them a sort of a pick-me-up. The Steelers, again, going on the ground, took them 3 plays this time. The third play, Jaylen Warren, part 2, the sequel, the encore, found a huge hole that was beautifully blocked by the Steelers' offensive line and tight ends. I wish Brian Baldinger would do a video on that touchdown run for Jaylen Warren. Maybe AQ Shipley, who does the Pat McAfee show, he'll do that instead. But just perfectly blocked by the Steelers' offensive line and tight ends. Warren hits that hole that you or I watching this could go through. He turns on the burners again. 45-yard touchdown run again. Excellent stuff from Jaylen Warren. Back and forth, the offense for the Lions and the offense of the Steelers went. The Lions, they again moved down the field. They exposed the middle of the field and capped off a 10-play drive with a touchdown reception by Jahmyr Gibbs. Sticking with the trend again, the Steelers offense, the running game, quickly moved the ball into Detroit territory. Unfortunately, though, the Lions, they were able to finally bow up and stop the Steelers' attack on the outskirts of the red zone. With a little over 2 minutes left, the Steelers, they were forced to settle for a field goal. And then tragedy struck. In a dome from 37 yards on the right hash mark, Chris Boswell somehow, someway missed what, in his case, was a layup field goal, just skims off of the right goalpost and out. So Boswell misses a field goal, rare miss for him, keeps the game at just a 5-point lead, 29-24 for the Steelers. And the Lions, already scoring 2 touchdowns on their previous 2 drives with all the momentum, they went out looking for a third. And that is when the craziness began and all the controversy along with it. The Steelers defense needing to come up big. They played pretty well, other than what, some people out there think. I thought the Steelers played damn good defense on that final drive. You had on a immediate 4th down for the Lions. I believe it was 4th and 2. Goff fires over the middle to Jamison Williams, but Kyle Duggar, he gets nabbed for pass interference. I thought it was, ticky-tacky. Duggar got there just a hair before the ball did. Otherwise, good coverage right there. There was another point right after that where the Steelers defense appeared to sack Goff, but Alex Highsmith, he was nabbed with a tripping penalty, even though if you look at the replay, he was clearly being held by Taylor Decker. So that's what caused Highsmith to do that. Those 2 penalties back-to-back, they gave Detroit a free 29 yards, and 2 completions later, the Lions got all the way down to the 1-yard line. On the following play, 1st and goal, Jared Goff hits Amon-Ra St. Brown for the score. But just like the Steelers earlier in the game, similar to Darnell Washington, the Lions get nabbed with OPI against Isaac Tesla. Tesla steps in front, initiates contact with Kyle Duggar. That's what sprung St. Brown wide open. It gets called. I see fans online making, an argument about that should have been OPI. Well, if that's not OPI, then the Darnell Washington thing shouldn't have been OPI either. And the Metcalf touchdown that resulted from that should have counted. So if that was the grounds by which the officiating crew was operating with offensive pass interference, then they made the right call. If that got called from Washington, then that damn sure should have been called for the Lions as well. That backed up Detroit 10 yards, and then they ended up finding themselves after a 7-yard gain and a false start as well. They were on the Steelers' 9, and They had a 4th and goal situation from the 9. This is when all hell broke loose. I'm going to try my best here to explain this crazy, crazy play. Jared Goff passed to Amon-Ra St. Brown just short of the goal line. Joey Porter Jr. and Jalen Ramsey were able to stop St. Brown, keep him from crossing the goal line as a flag was thrown in that vicinity. They then pushed St. Brown back to the 4-yard line before he lateraled the ball to Goff. Goff then runs it into the end zone as whistles are blowing. Lions, they think they scored a touchdown that won the game. Meanwhile, the Steelers, they're thinking they got the stop. All of this while the referees are convening. And then about 2 minutes, it took the referees to discuss this on the field. You had every single official together in a small huddle. That is when we got the pump fake of the century. Referee Carl Cheffers, great referee. Sick name too, by the way. He said the result of the play was a touchdown. That ignited Ford Field into a frenzy. Then he dropped, quote, however, pass interference on the offense, number 14. By rule, that penalty is not enforced, and there is no replay. The game is over. There is no touchdown. What an insane way to end the game, and an insane, call by the referee as well. You got all the fans' hopes up just to give them the old, but wait, there's more. Just awesome stuff there. I absolutely love that. The replay showed St. Brown pushing off of Jalen Ramsey in the end zone to create the separation that he had for the catch. And because the penalty happened and the play with Goff ended with 0 seconds on the clock, the touchdown was wiped out and there was no untimed down. In one of the wildest ways that we will ever see a game end, the Steelers escape Ford Field with the 29-24 victory. And that ending, it will be talked about for years. The Lions, they fall to 8-7. That all but crushes their playoff hopes. But more importantly, the Steelers, they continue their hot streak right now. Now on a 3-game winning streak in December. Mike Tomlin talks about unleashing hell in December all the time. They have beaten each of those 3 teams, like I said, without having a rest advantage. They now move to 9-6 in the division. They go up another game on the Baltimore Ravens for the division lead. And the Steelers, they are 1 win away in Cleveland or against the Ravens in Week 18, or a Baltimore loss to the Green Bay Packers on Saturday away from clinching the AFC North and hosting a home playoff game. And one other thing, I don't care about what anybody says about that Lions team or yesterday's game and how it ended. That was a good team that the Steelers, for majority of that game, just put belt to ass to in what felt like a playoff game atmosphere. And at the end of the day, the Steelers, the right team that deserved to win, ended up winning the ball game. And people say it was controversial fashion. I'll explain more here in a little bit. Wasn't all that controversial, in my opinion, to begin with. So the Steelers, for the first time since I was a kid, they're legitimately making some noise and making me think that maybe, just maybe, they might be able to make noise in the postseason and go all the way to the big one. I'm not predicting it, but I'm starting to feel it. Like I said, there is so much that I want to talk about more in this game, including winners and losers coming up here in a moment. But I want to get your guys' reaction to this insane game, and we'll talk about all the components of it as well. 24 of you in here right now. Thoughts, opinions, questions on that Lions game yesterday. Please get those in the comment section right now. See a bunch of comments in the comment section right now. More from a bunch of people already here. We got Lance in here. Shout out from Mon Valley. What is going on, Lance? Concepts talking about the Kenneth Gainwell touchdown catch. Greatest TD catch of all time. Oh, pause. We can settle for second greatest TD catch of all time. I think the number 1 spot belongs to a certain number 10 back in the 2009 Super Bowl. One Santonio Holmes. We'll count that as the greatest touchdown catch of all times. But Gainwell, it's up there. For sure it is. It also came right after they talked about Rodgers' amazing Hail Marys before half. I think that was the play. That was a play or two right after Rodgers had one of his vintage, move around, escape out to the right, uncork one deep that went right off the hands of an diving Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So Rodgers had nearly a highlight-worthy play right before that and comes back. Gainwell makes a big play right there. Absolutely love that right there. More here as well here. Don't see the dominating wins, says Truth. The dominating the eye test. The final score doesn't show it, and at the end of games, the Steelers' prevent defense has been the one, giving it up. But I'll give them a pass there. But talk about the situation. Just three high-stake games that the Steelers have won. They beat the Ravens in their own building for the division lead, and then two teams that were red hot, that had red hot offenses coming in the past 2 weeks. The Steelers have defeated them pretty handily, in my opinion. So I absolutely like it there from the Steelers. Glad to see them do this again. Ravens are going to lose to Green Bay, hopefully, says Isaiah here. I'm hoping so, Isaiah. We'll have a chance to see what could have been Steelers franchise legend Malik Willis maybe take down the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, though, going to be out for that game, most likely. We'll talk more about the Ravens in the extra Pittsburgh Sports News segment. But yeah, backs against the wall for Baltimore. And even if it comes down to that last game of the year, I have no clue how the Ravens beat the Steelers right now. About 4 flags flew on that call at the end of the game. Yeah. And the thing that really pissed me off, and I think it pissed off a lot of you as well, how late the flags were coming in was the most annoying part. It was, you think you made a big play. Everyone, yeah, let's go. And then, 2 seconds later, the flags are coming in as guys on the field are high-fiving each other. So the refs were really, really slow with the flags yesterday. That's one thing, just a niche thing that really made me mad there. Pump fake of the century, indeed. Carl Cheffers. The result of the play is a touchdown. The Lions about to, blow the roof off the field, and they're still cheering. I've seen multiple videos now of Lions fans in the stands still going nuts as he says the rest of the call, saying the game is over. The touchdown doesn't count. And I bet you, like 5 minutes after the fact, there were still Lions fans that thought they won. So that was really crazy, but confusing end to the game. See you guys getting in your comments on that play. Going to get to it more. Some of your thoughts, I think, are the same as mine. Whatever excuse or blaming of the refs saying the touchdown should have counted that the Lions fans are putting out there, it's not. There's a clear legal, explanation of why the Steelers stopped and why both of those plays, the touchdown to St. Brown and then the Goff lateral touchdown, why both of those shouldn't have counted. Benton sacked to start the game, set the tone early. Indeed, it did. No TJ Watt, no Nick Herbig yesterday for the Steelers. I was focusing on the edge rushers, Sawyer and Highsmith, and we needed a big game from those guys. We got that, but the big game from the interior against the Lions banged up interior as well. That was huge. Wasn't really a single matchup on the D-line yesterday where I thought the Steelers got, outmatched. I thought each and every single time the Steelers defenders were blowing the Lions offensive linemen away, or at least holding their own. Got more comments in here. Tons of comments. 25 of you in here right now. Now it's up to 28, I see. The flags were out immediately after the push-off in that final play. Yeah, and I think the Steelers sideline, that's what gave me hope, because they panned to the Steelers sideline immediately when that touchdown happens, and you're seeing Calvin Austin saying OPI. So, yeah, great stuff there from the officials. Great pickup on that. Got Robert in here. If they were the fans, then they should know the OPI cancels the TD. Yeah, I think they just all went nuts and didn't hear anything the referee said after that. They sort of heard touchdown and lost their minds after that. More here as well in the comment section from all of you beautiful, beautiful people in here. That likely catch should have counted, be honest. I will say, the ruling of a catch for the ruling of a catch out in the field versus in the end zone, they should be different. Yeah, the likely catch should have counted, but by the letter of the law as written right now, it wasn't a catch. So that's what we're going off of. That's why it wasn't a catch there. I can say it could have been, it should have been, but it was not at the end of the day. Secure the catch. Didn't do that. Clear PBU says Concepts. Agree with that too, Concepts. Both things can be true, I feel like. Mount Washington almost killed that little DB on his OPI. I think that was DJ Reed who you're talking about there, Lance. Yeah, DJ Reed. That was, stuffed animal meat semi-truck coming down the highway. Washington didn't even see him. It's not like he was even trying to make contact. It's just Reed met a brick wall, and the brick wall won. As Lance said, for the 25 of you in here right now, everybody please hit that like and subscribe button on your way in. Help support the channel. Would appreciate it. You can go back on the channel and see the reactions throughout the game yesterday. You will see me on the middle of the floor here in this room, praying to the TV, stressing on the verge of vomit, even though I wasn't. Just felt like that. Truth saying the same thing here. Hit the like button. 29 of you in here now. Let's switch gears here. We're going to stick with the football game yesterday. Wanted to get into my winners and losers real quick from yesterday's game. Talking about those. Got three big winners and two big losers from yesterday's game already here on my sheet. And then we'll get into some smaller winners and losers as well. The big winners yesterday for the Steelers. Winner number one, I don't know how it could be anybody else but these guys right here. It's the running back room. Kenneth Gainwell and Jaylen Warren, those guys, they are winners number one yesterday. Gainwell, that insane catch that really kick-started the Steelers' offense for the rest of the game. It was a bit of a struggle for the offense at bits in that game, and that player making a big play really, really helped out the offense get going. Jaylen Warren, still the human wrecking ball, bowling ball out there, whatever you want to call him. Just doesn't matter. He is going to take on contact. Doesn't matter how big or how small the guy he's going against is. He's going to take on contact, and he is going to be a trouble to bring down. Their stats yesterday, very reflective of their performances. They passed the eye test, and it translated over to the box score as well. Kenneth Gainwell, 14 total touches yesterday, 128 total yards, and a receiving touchdown. Jaylen Warren on the ground, 14 carries, 143 yards, a pair of 45-yarders, 2 touchdown runs for Jaylen Warren. Over the last 3 games now, these running backs, Gainwell, 18 catches, 296 total yards, 2 touchdowns. Warren through the air as well, 8 catches, 261 total yards, and 3 touchdowns. The offense yesterday for the Steelers, 496 yards. These guys, the biggest contributors of them all in that final stat line, nearly 500 yards of offense. These guys getting well over 250 of that by themselves. And what even made that performance from them even more commendable, I bet you they were looking at the other side of the field and they saw what still, I believe, when they just don't flat out suck like they did yesterday against the Steelers, I believe the Steelers running back team, they looked at the other side of that field. They saw Jahmyr Gibbs. They saw David Montgomery, and they said, hey, today, Kenny, Jaylen, whoever's talking here, say I'm Jaylen. Hey, Kenny, today, you and me, we are entering into the conversation for best running back tandem in the NFL. And I think after that, they certainly did it. And, people talking about this running back duo, this is the type of horses. Those guys, they're the type of horses that you need down the stretch here to play good football and take in the playoffs. So outstanding stuff there from Warren and Gainwell. Warren continues to earn every cent of that payday he got in the offseason. Kenneth Gainwell, he is day by day, performance by performance, watching the decimal point go up, or watching the dollars count up in his next contract, preferably with the Steelers here. So awesome stuff there. Loser number one, the biggest loser yesterday in that Steelers game. Not anybody on the Steelers. We're going to go to the officiating. First off, the officials, I really think they could have made the ending of that game much more clear to, enunciate and tell us what exactly happened, because I even think they didn't know how to properly call that final play. They really made us feel like our hearts dropped out, and then we went through the roof on that play. Gene Steratore, actually, longtime NFL referee, he gave a better explanation of the play on Twitter, saying at the end of the Pittsburgh-Detroit game, the ruling on the field was a completed catch, a backwards lateral, and a touchdown by Detroit. There was a flag thrown for offensive pass interference. The clock was at 0 when the touchdown occurred, and because the penalty was committed by the offense, the game is over and the touchdown does not count. He said, regarding the forward progress, my personal opinion is that St. Brown's progress was stopped around the 2-second mark. If it would have been ruled that way, which it should have been, the Steelers would have just declined the penalty, and it would have resulted in a turnover on downs because it was 4th down, since St. Brown clearly did not score. So Gene Steratore coming out there, giving a crystal clear explanation of what should have been the call in the first place. We didn't need to go through the whole heart attack of, oh my God, did Goff score a touchdown or not there? It should have just been said, hey, the runner was down by contact was his forward progress stopped because how far back does Jalen Ramsey and Joey Porter Jr. have to push St. Brown before they blow the damn whistle? Honestly, if that's not, forward progress stopped, then the next time the Steelers sack the quarterback, I want them to, instead of pushing him down to the ground, pick him up and run him back the other way to the end zone there. So the referees, they really messed that up. And the other reason why they're a loser, they were in the Detroit Lions pocket all day long. Penalty and penalty over and over again against the Steelers. It felt like at the end of it, I think the Steelers had double the penalties that the Lions did. And the Lions, they were getting away with some stuff early in the game. Holds, false starts, all sorts of stuff like that. But hey, the officials in the end came in and made the right calls. To the Lions fans out there who are saying that they got screwed by the refs, I mean, really, you didn't. The refs were on your side all game. The OPI on both of those touchdown plays on that final drive were correct. If Darnell Washington got called for OPI, so can Tisslaw. And St. Brown definitely pushed off, and the forward progress was stopped. There was no touchdown. St. Brown didn't score. And yeah, the penalty with zeros on the clock, it was the right call. So to anyone out there, bitching and complaining and blaming the referee, saying the refs bailed out the Steelers, go look up that still shot picture of Y.A. Black. That shouldn't be all that hard to find from yesterday. You'll get my response there. Winner number 2, big winner number 2 yesterday for the Steelers. You have got to go with that Steelers defense. I know fans are going to be hard on them, letting the Lions come back in that game. I think that was, with the Steelers prevent defense, so I'll give them a break. But this Lions team, you want to be harsh on the Steelers defense for the ending of the game. The Lions defense, they still were one of the best offenses in the NFL heading into yesterday's game. They were first in yards per play, third in points scored, fourth in touchdowns, 24th in punts, 32nd in turnovers. Jared Goff, heading into yesterday's game, over 4,000 passing yards, I think, which was 4th in the NFL. Had, the second most touchdown passes in the league and had the 5th least interceptions in the league. And Jahmyr Gibbs, talk about the running game, the dynamic duo Sonic and Knuckles for the Lions. We talked about those guys before the game. Gibbs, He was on a heater. Montgomery, very underrated back. That would be a number one on other teams. And yet the Steelers, for a majority of that game, they just punched that offense in the mouth and took their lunch money. Put it this way. You want an overall view? I don't view the overall, personality or reputation of the Steelers in that game. I don't view their overall reputation of the Lions scoring 2 touchdown drives, nearly scoring a third to end the game. I view it as the Steelers defense yesterday holding Sonic and Knuckles, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery to 15 yards on 12 carries. Jahmyr Gibbs yesterday running the ball, 7 carries, 2 yards. Montgomery, 4 carries for 14 yards with a 17-yard carry there as well. 12 carries, 15 yards. That is still curtain stuff right there. You've got to love it from the Steelers. They just blanked them for a run defense that we've been critical of, I think, for a majority of this year. They went out there and they blanked the best running back duo in the NFL. So how can you not but be happy with that Steelers defense? Also, you want to go from an individual accolade spot here? We'll do that. We'll start up front, the D-line. Welcome back, Derek Harmon. Remember how we've been talking about the Steelers run defense with Harmon and without, 100-yard difference for opposing offenses? Harmon back there making plays again, helping stop the run. With Derek Harmon in the lineup now, the Steelers have faced 4 top-tier running backs. They faced Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Devon Achane, and Jahmyr Gibbs with Derek Harmon. Or I think, scratch out the Devon Achane. Just scratch out the whole Derek Harmon thing. Just the run defense in general. The Steelers against these 4 top-tier running backs, Gibbs, Achane, Jacobs, Taylor, they held Jacobs to 45 yards. They held Taylor, to 45 yards. Jacobs to 33, Achane to 60, and Jahmyr Gibbs to 2. David Montgomery to 14. That is outstanding stuff. Grade A stuff there from the Steelers defense. Harmon didn't make, the biggest, splashiest of plays, but when he's out there, the run defense is light years better. I'm going to give him a big stock in that. Cam Hayward, think he had a good game yesterday. One play that got really overlooked. I'm glad that I saw it after the fact because I didn't, look at the replay in real time. Hayward yesterday on that Kyle Duggar safety. Hayward had 3 Lion blockers occupied, and that's what allowed Duggar to come free and blitz and take down Goff. 36-year-old Hayward still generating that kind of attention. Keanu Benton, like we mentioned, another sack for him. He's having a sneaky good year. Could be getting a small extension with the Steelers in the offseason. Y.A. Black thought he had another good game. Started to play better over the past couple of games. Back to his normal, go in there every other play role. He played well. Also going to probably pay a hefty fine for his whole one-finger salute. He wasn't given the old Roman Reigns tribal chiefs ones to the sky. Wasn't giving a thumbs up. Wasn't showing off his ring finger because I think he just got married recently. And it wasn't tea time because he wasn't giving out his pinky. You can probably guess what one-finger salute he gave to the Lions sideline. Moving to the linebackers, Patrick Queen, I thought, a little bit of a rocky start, but he came along. Peyton Wilson was quiet. Don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. The outside linebackers, though, Alex Highsmith, Jack Sawyer, please, gentlemen, treat yourself to a nice meal because that was outstanding stuff, those guys. No Herbig, no Watt, no problem for Highsmith and Sawyer. Sawyer, Penei Sewell, going up against him all game long. That is as tough of an order as you could have for your first career NFL start. And I thought Sawyer held his own, probably even beat Sewell a couple of times. Highsmith, he's looking more and more like a guy that deserves the big money he's getting paid. Stepped up in the absence of 2 guys who were starting to overshadow him a bit. He's come along here to end the season. So outstanding stuff from them. Highsmith against Decker, Sawyer against Sewell. Both of those tackles great tackles as well. They got more than they asked for from Highsmith and Sawyer, and that is what we love to see. And then moving finally here into the secondary for the Steelers defense, Joey Porter Jr., man. He went from, oh my God, is this guy, going to be borderline unplayable to, holy hell, we might have a lockdown island corner. Joey Porter Jr. yesterday, he was phenomenal. Had a big play early in the game against Amon-Ra St. Brown. Had a couple other good plays throughout the game. 8 matchups with Amon-Ra St. Brown yesterday for Joey Porter Jr. Only gave up 1 open target on 3 targets, 1 reception, 7 yards. Also went up against Jamison Williams. I think he had a tiny bit more trouble there, but hey, you're going to win battles, you're going to lose battles. Overall, positive stuff from JPJ. Thought Asante Samuel had a bit of a step down from his first start with the Steelers against the Dolphins, but still looks to be all right as a contributor to this secondary moving forward. Brandon Echols, hard to judge his game. He left with a groin injury and did not return. Hopefully he's all right. The safeties, though, not much to complain about there. Kyle Duggar, first Steelers player in franchise history to have a pick 6 and a safety in the same season. Duggar continues to be one of the more shrewd pickups of the trade deadline that not many people still are talking about. So Duggar, fantastic game from him. Jalen Ramsey, thought he had another, Jalen Ramsey physical game. Ended up playing a big role on that final play of the game. Chuck Clark, I love your game and I hate your game at the same time. 3 interceptions delivered on a golden platter right to Chuck Clark. Couldn't reel any of them in, but he did make a nice play on the final drive to, I think, stop a big player, a touchdown for the Lions. So great stuff from the Steelers defense. I give them a A- yesterday. I would give them an A+ if they didn't let the Lions climb back in. But hey, small potatoes when you get the win and you shut down one of the better offenses for over 3 quarters, in my opinion. So great stuff from the defense. Big loser number 2 from yesterday's game. This is aside from the whole fan altercation situation. I thought DK Metcalf had a rotten game, had a couple of drops. That fan thing really got in his head. He only had 4 catches for 42 yards on 9 targets. At one point had just 2 catches on 7 targets. So Metcalf was not his day, self-inflicted and otherwise. The final big winner from yesterday's game for me, we criticize these guys all the time on the channel. They've been losers on multiple occasions. They've been winners very rarely other times. But hey, when they're doing good, we got to give them their flowers. The coaching staff, they deserve a lot of credit. Another game where Mike Tomlin outcoached the coach on the other sideline. He outcoached John Harbaugh. He outcoached Mike McDaniel. And yesterday, he outcoached Dan Campbell. All of that 7-shot stuff that he harps on and persists in training camp came in clutch late in the season in a big, big spot. So credit to Tomlin for that. I believe he even gave a comment to Brooke Pryor as he walks back to the locker room saying, 7 shots, that's what gives me confidence, Brooke, or something like that. So Tomlin, he is in his bag right now. Love that from him. 200 wins in the NFL yesterday from Mike Tomlin. And of course, Steelers at 9-6 for the 19th consecutive season. Mike Tomlin finishes with a 500 record or better, not having a losing season. Tomlin also, love his, we're on to the next thoughts as well. Said we got to keep pushing. We don't have time for victory Mondays. So Steelers, at least in Tomlin's mind, just another win, filing it into the category. They're already on to Cleveland. To the coordinators, Danny Smith is Danny Smith. Special teams I thought was nice. Ben Skoranek made a nice hit. But Arthur Smith, Terrell Austin, I'll give those guys their flowers. I thought they had a good game. Arthur Smith, for a solid stretch of that game, his play calling was fantastic, manipulating the minds of the defense and what the Steelers offense was going to do. He had one play where he had Kenneth Gainwell and Jonnu Smith pre-motion, switching spots. Gainwell ended up getting the ball on a jet sweep. He had them line up in a similar spot, do a similar shift again. Jonnu ends up getting a crack toss, gets, 7-8 yards out of it. So I'll give Arthur Smith tons of credit. We've criticized his play calling a bunch this season, but yesterday he called a fantastic game. And same thing for Terrell Austin. Again, kind of like what they did against the Dolphins on Monday night. The Steelers, they played an aggressive style of football defensively that I liked, and they showed a ton of exotic blitzes where you would, on one play, I think, the Y.A. Black on a simulated pass rush, he then dropped back into coverage and got a swat down. You had Kyle Duggar blitzing, other guys blitzing as well. So great stuff from the coaching staff yesterday. I'll give them a ton of credit. The last bit of extra winners and losers here. Not going to get too much in deep on them. This guy could have been a big winner, but I thought the defense, coaching staff, and running back room deserved a little bit of extra shine today. Aaron Rodgers, he's definitely a winner. 27 for 41, 266 yards, and a touchdown pass yesterday. Rodgers, now in his last 3 weeks during this winning streak, a 783 total passing yards, 5 total touchdowns, 8 big-time throws, and a passer rating of 106.4 per PFF. Rodgers in yesterday's game, according to NFL's next-gen stats, when facing pressure, completed 5 of 8 passes for a season high of 85 yards and a touchdown. Also, Rodgers yesterday, according to next-gen stats, 9 first-down conversions on 3rd and 4th down, which is the most in a game since Week 17 of the 2019 season. Rodgers in his bag, still looks like he can make all the throws. Was moving all around in the pocket. Great yesterday. Was still thinking the game at a higher level, catching the Lions with their pants down a couple of times. So Rodgers, outstanding stuff. This Steelers offense, it is damn fun to watch again. And number 8, he is a big reason that it is fun to watch, and he's a big reason, probably the biggest reason, why we have an all-time high in confidence in this team heading into the final stretch of the season and most likely the playoffs as well. The Steelers' offensive line, got to give them a winner award as well. Another fantastic showing from them. Frazier, Faatanu, McCormick, those guys, those young guys in their second year, making another big step, having an outstanding game. Dylan Cook, second start for him, filling in for multiple injured players. He balled, only had one play where he got beat pretty bad by Aiden Hutchinson, but hey, everyone gets beaten bad by Aiden Hutchinson. Mike Tomlin waxed poetic about Dylan Cook after the game, saying we ran for 200 plus yards with that guy. So Cook getting some love. Zach Frazier after the game, quote, "We need to keep getting better and better. That's the goal for us. We want to be better next week. We have to keep getting better, but I love seeing us grow together." Awesome stuff from the Steelers offensive line yesterday. And my final extra winner from yesterday's ball game, the Steelers wide receiver depth. I think we have developed a bit more and more confidence in them for yesterday, with Metcalf not having the best day. Adam Thielen, 4 receptions, 49 yards. He was clutch on 3rd and 4th downs. Freiermuth, saw more of him. 4 receptions, 20 receiving yards for him. I thought he got used a bit more. Scotty Miller off the bench. His number gets called. It's Brucey's time to shine. He did his thing. Darnell Washington minus the fumble. 3 receptions, 36 yards. Stiff-armed a guy into oblivion. I thought MVS, even though a couple of balls hit off his hands, the receptions will come as long as you're getting some separation and making the right plays. And last but certainly not least, Calvin Austin, thought he was a good contributor as well offensively. So the offensive line, the receivers, and Aaron Rodgers, the extra small winners from yesterday's game. Just 2 extra small losers from yesterday's game, and I'm really nitpicking here. Caleb Johnson, he is a loser from yesterday, a surprise inactive before the game, 3rd-round pick from this year. Never really got his confidence or running game going at all this season, and now he's a healthy scratch. Hopefully he's able to bounce back, but man, that is rough, and it has been a rough go for the Steelers third-round picks. Roman Wilson last year, Caleb Johnson this year, both of those guys healthy scratches. And the last extra loser, I guess I'll go with Boz. I mean, layup 37-yarder in a key spot in a game. Boz has never missed those kicks, can't miss it in that situation. That would have turned the Lions from needing to score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to just needing to score a touchdown. So Boz in a dome, missing that. Really shocking. Hopefully that is just, an anomaly, and he will be able to recover from that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 20 of you still hanging around in here. Going to switch gears over to hockey here in a moment, get through that before we wrap up the show with some extra Pittsburgh sports news. Let's go back here to the comment section. You guys with a ton of comments during that segment, winners and losers from yesterday. Let me see if I can get to them here. Got a couple of new commenters as well. Mark Tobin in here. Lions defense stank. How long is DK suspended for? 2 games. Mark, that is 2 games there. Concepts. All week we were worried about the Lions elite running back duo. Kenny G and Warren took that mantle yesterday. Indeed, they did. That is outstanding stuff. And good, playoff teams, championship-winning playoff teams. They're built off a good running game, and they're built off of a strong defense for most of that game. Again, the Steelers' defense very strong in the running game, showing some elite stuff. Over 250 yards between those two. Going here, Truth being pessimistic today. Steelers defense is average. Maybe good enough. If Aaron Rodgers is balling the way he is right now in his bag, and the running game gets going, I'd settle for having an average defense with an above average offense as of late. Those things tend to be working out, playing good complementary football. All these injury and the defense still play that damn well. Concepts. Very true point. Harmon is a beast from Freight Train. Not splashy, but not splashy, but not bad, says Truth. Doesn't need to be splashy, in my opinion. As long as he is gap sound and clogging up the running game, and his play occupying the attention of others is allowing other guys to make a play, I will take that all day long from Harmon. I don't need him to go out there and get, 15 sacks. As long as he's doing his job as a first-round rookie, the production will come, but making sure you're making the right decisions and doing your job each and every play. I will take that from him all the time. Jack Sawyer earned his spot, played a great game, looked like TJ with those TFLs, to be honest, says Concepts. Heck, Highsmith and Sawyer both had incredible run stops behind the line yesterday. Yeah, they were outstanding both times. I believe the Lions tried to make the same play where they pulled a guard or a tackle to the way they were running, and they couldn't get there quick enough. Sawyer and Herbig shot out of a cannon right off the line. They met the running back in the backfield right as he got the ball. So yeah, love that there. Looking here as well. Eccles looks really good. Yeah, Eccles again, quiet day from him, but quiet days for DBs. They are good half the time. Just hope that injury isn't, going to be anything long term. JPJ, best corner in the NFL. Not sure I want to go there yet, but has been cutting down on the PI calls, which is very promising, and that is really, really helping his case right now. Some more comments here. Got this Shane in here. Welcome, Shane. DK sitting might be the best. Only thing he caught yesterday was suspension. Yeah, DK sitting might be the best, which it's not like if the Ravens lose on Saturday, he's going to be sitting a whole lot more anyway. So I take that for what it's worth. Was that the big F-bomb from YA on the first play? Indeed, that was there, Lance. Indeed, that was YA. You picked up what I was laying down right there. Going here again. Big time cash coming. That's what the NFL cares about, says Truth about the suspension. Rodgers does avoid turnovers. Who's saying Rodgers throwing turnovers? He has protected the ball real well. I think really over the last 3 games, this winning streak, what has been the most glaring turnover play for Rodgers. The pass that got batted back to him and he caught and knelt down against the Ravens. The one that was nearly picked off against Miami, and he only threw that because he knew he had a penalty and was taking a risky shot that had no repercussions after the fact. Yeah, Rodgers, he is as close to a vintage, Rodgers that we have seen in a while here. He is playing like he's not going to go out with a whimper here. Rodgers is playing like this is his final go around, and he is going to leave everything out there on the table. That is what you love to see from him right there. Back in the day, Boz did have a time. He got the yips. Yeah, hopefully that's not coming back. I remember those years when every time Boswell went out, it was, you were holding your breath. I think they even brought in a couple of guys as well to kick. McCrane was one of them. Why the hell I remember an obscure Steeler kicker, name from 5 or so years ago. Why I'm remembering that, I don't know. But what was it, Matt McCrane or someone came in and kicked for Boswell? Alex McCrane, something like that. So, hopefully Boz not getting the yips anytime soon here. Can't have that going into the postseason, most likely. 17 of you still in here, over an hour and a half on stream right now. We might hit the 2 hours mark on stream here tonight because there is a ton to talk about. Going to get through the final big segment of the show here tonight, and then we'll get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news after it. Switching from football, which we have talked about for the first hour and a half of this show, let's switch over to the hockey world for a second. Wonder if all of you follow hockey here on this channel. Yesterday, the Penguins, I won't say yesterday and Saturday, the Pittsburgh Penguins doing battle with the Montreal Canadiens. It was a home series. The Pens in Montreal on Saturday night, and then back home yesterday night. We actually were still live for Steelers and Lions when that Pens game against Montreal started. And during that game, we missed a bit of history. But before we get to that history, let's first quickly, and I do mean quickly, go over what happened on a Saturday night. The Pens in action in Montreal, coming in on an 8-game losing streak. Stuart Skinner in goal for the black and gold, and the Pens on an 8-game losing streak still looked like they did not have a care in the world of playing any good hockey. It was not fun to watch. Saturday, thankfully, there was, some other stuff going on, some other football games, some college football playoff games as well. So that took some of the distraction away from the Pens being ass. Was 2-0 after one period of play in Montreal. Cole Caulfield and Owen Beck with the goals. Both were pretty bad looking goals for the Penguins. After the second period, it was 3-0 Montreal. Josh Anderson beats Stuart Skinner on a shorthanded breakaway to make it 3-0. Poor puck management by a Penguins power play, which has been a equally as rough watch as of late. Things were so bad for the Pens in Montreal on Saturday night that they pulled Stuart Skinner with 7 minutes to go. They had an extra attacker for 7 minutes, or were going to plan that way. But the Canadiens, they were able to stop the Pens' man advantage, and they scored an empty net goal, 4-0. The final score on Saturday night. The Pens, that was their 8th straight loss. They were heading in with 7 straight losses. That was their 8th straight loss. 0-4-4 in that time span. Their longest losing streak since 2006, when they lost 10 straight games, and they were shut out in back-to-back games. They were shut out by, who was it? The Utah Mammoth or something the night before. So the Pens shut out back-to-back games. Back home yesterday, though, and that is when we got some positive vibes again around the Pittsburgh Penguins. No changes to the Pens lineup except for putting Jack St. Ivany back in for Connor Clifton. Arturs Shalovs made the start. Early on, the Canadiens, they took a 1-0 lead, I think around 14-minute mark of the first period. Oliver Kapanen with the goal on a tic-tac-toe play. But then, right after it, history made. Sidney Crosby gets a redirect off an Erik Karlsson slap shot, beats the goaltender Dobes clean. At his point 1,723 in Crosby's career. He tied Mario Lemieux for the Penguins franchise point record. And then that was also, Crosby's 20th goal of the season. That secured his 18th 20-goal season in his career. Only 6 NHL players have had more of those. And then about 5 minutes later, after tying the record, history was tied, and then history was broken. Crosby gets an assist on an Ricard Raquel power play goal. Slap shot from Sid goes through the wickets of the goaltender. Ricard Raquel puts home the rebound, just sitting there vacant in the loose paint. Crosby, the new all-time points leader in Penguins history. He passes Mario Lemieux as well, 8th all-time in NHL points. Sid becomes the first new all-time points leader since 1989. How old was Sidney Crosby in 1989 when a new points leader for the Pens was named? Sid was 17 months old. Now he is 7th all-time in all-time points and first in Penguins franchise history. And seeing that last night, seeing the ovation and all of that from Sid, all the video tributes as well for him breaking that record, can't help but, no matter how bad things may be for the Penguins as of late and for the past couple of seasons, can't help but be grateful that all of us have experienced immense amounts of success with the Penguins and multiple championships, and got to remember how fortunate we are that one of the greatest to ever play the game, maybe you can make an argument, the greatest of all time, for how much the competition level has changed over the years, and Sid still producing at an elite level. Got to be grateful for number 87 and all he's done. The Prince that was to be when Mario Lemieux retired. Never could we have imagined that he would be surpassing Lemieux for the points total. So great stuff from Sid last night. Congratulations, Sid, on the points record. Absolutely love that. 87, got the shirt on here tonight. 87 GOAT for the reason. That was the score after one period of play. It was 2-1 Pens. Crosby getting the festivities out of the way early. Then the second period, the Canadians, they opened up the period with an answer. I believe it was Ivan Demidov for the Canadians, or maybe it was Josh Gallagher. I don't know. One of those two. They scored to tie the game on Shilovs. But then the Pens, they answered again. Noel Achari with a wicked shot, a snipe over the shoulder of Dobes. That gives the Penguins a 3-2 lead heading into the third period. In the third period, Pens in leads in the third period have not been all that good of a match for the past couple of months now. And that continued in that game last night. Noah Dobson, the former New York Islander who signed a big contract with Montreal in the offseason after getting traded there, I think. He scored the game-tying goal 4 minutes into the period. The rest of the period was some back-and-forth action, and game ended up going to overtime. And we all felt very confident that the Penguins, who are like 1-8 or 9 in overtime and shootout scenarios this year, we all felt pretty confident that they were going to pull out a win. Overtime began, and for all 5 minutes, it was, in the literal definition, all Canadians. They must have had, 3 different high-danger scoring chances, around 5 shots, where they rang 2 posts as well. The Canadians, they just had their foot on the throttle the whole entire overtime period, getting chances left and right, and somehow the Pens were able to survive and get it to a shootout. In the shootout, that is when we got our second miracle of the day, the first being the Steelers getting that win against the Lions in that crazy fashion. The miracle, the Pens in a shootout, they looked like a team that wasn't complete and total ass in them. Kevin Hayes scores first for the Pens on a nifty little soft backhand shot, I believe it was a soft forehand chip as he was skating to the right. He shot it back to the left. Artur Shalov's made a stop. Sidney Crosby, he was then stopped on his shootout attempt. Shalov's got beat 5-hole to make it 1-1 in the shootout. And then Ricard Raquel comes in and undresses the goaltender Dobes to score the go-ahead goal in the shootout. Shalov's then gets deked out a little bit by Cole Caulfield, who is the final shooter for the Canadians. But Shalov's gets the pad over, makes the stop. The Penguins, 4-3 winners last night over the Canadians. Crosby with 2 points breaks the all-time points record for the Penguins. Raquel and Achari, a goal as well. Just outstanding stuff from the Penguins, overcoming adversity. Finally, on these close games, being on the winning side of it. They snapped their 8-game losing streak, now up to 15, 11, and 9 record on the season. So they still got to do some digging out of the hole that they've put themselves in for the past month in change. Sidney Crosby, after the game, spoke on breaking the points record. Quote, "I have a ton of respect for Mario. It means a lot. That's friendship. That friendship and what him and his family mean to me is a lot." Sid also talking about the crowd ovation. It's really special. You're trying to stay in the game, but also just try to enjoy the moment too. It's hard to balance that sometimes, especially as you get older. I think, it was great for Sid to get that moment at home ice against a hometown team of his as well. So love that from Sid there. New all-time points leader. But quote of the night, regardless of Sid bringing the point streak, from Dan Muse. It's been a tough couple of weeks. It friggin' wears on you when you go through these types of stretches. That's just reality. Although he didn't say friggin'. So Muse got a weight off of his shoulders. Fans were calling for him, and also a weight off of Crosby's shoulders. The new all-time Penguins points leader. Congratulations, Sid. All right, ladies and gentlemen, extra Pittsburgh sports news finally for tonight's live stream coming up here in a moment. Just 2 more comments during that Penguins talk. We'll get back into that right now. Freight Train here. Congrats to Sid. Best two-way player of all time. Wouldn't go that far. I mean, Patrice Bergeron and Anze Kopitar, those types of guys, I think they have a bid for best two-way player. But best hockey IQ player, big game player of all time, Crosby. I would definitely say so. You were to tell me one player in NHL history all time you need to lead a team in a do-or-die game, I'm picking 87 more often than not. Also, Freight Train here. Shalov's made some amazing saves to keep them in it. Yeah, see, Artur Shalov's, most games, other than, his last, 5 or so when he's looked pretty rough, he's been lights out in regulation. But then when it goes to overtime or a shootout, he looks god-awful. But thankfully, he was able to step up in a big way here yesterday. Some great stuff from him. He snaps a 5-game losing streak himself, does Shalov's. Love that there. All right. Going to get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news here in one moment. In the meantime, let's go back here to Twitter, the Twitter timeline, see if there's any new bits of information before we move on here tonight. We got an update from Adam Schefter on what exactly this 2-game suspension is going to cost DK Metcalf. The 2-game suspension will cost him little under $278,000 per game. So if he serves the full 2 games, that'll come out to roughly $555,000 in 2 games. $278,000 about that per game, $555,000 for 2 games. So we will keep an eye on that. The everybody else bringing everybody else now posting that new video of right next to the fan, just a couple seats away. Dan Orlovsky, ESPN NFL analyst, chiming in on the suspension, saying the suspension had to happen, but I think he's on the same wavelength as me. There is no chance that Metcalf, that the NFL is going to make him miss Week 18 against the Ravens if that game comes down to the division. So I think I agree with him on there. Look and see if there's anything else here on this situation. More reactions to this suspension. Seeing now the video of Lamar Jackson shoving the Bills player in Week 1. We'll say Lamar, his shove of that Bills fan definitely caused some more physical contact there than Metcalf did on that attempted punch. I say attempted because might have just grazed him. Metcalf didn't make full contact. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. The extra Pittsburgh sports news here for this Monday. This might be the longest news stream of the year here on the channel. Let's start here with some Pittsburgh Pirates news. It'll be the first time tonight talking about the local baseball team. More reaction to the trade the Pirates made back on Friday. They traded pitcher Mike Burrows to the Houston Astros. The Astros then traded 2 top prospects to the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Rays traded to the Pirates second baseman all-star last year, Brandon Lau, as well as outfielder Jake Mangum and left-handed pitcher Mason Montgomery. We got some more reaction and news on that trade over the weekend. Brandon Lau took to Instagram to pay thanks and say thank you to the Tampa Bay organization and fans on his Instagram. Quote, Tampa Bay, I want to express my gratitude for the past 10 years. From my draft in 2015 to my journey through the organization, I have been honored to consider this city and this team my home. My time here has helped me grow as a player on the field and seen me grow my family. I'll forever be thankful to this team and the city for giving this kid a chance. Thank you, dog. So that there from Lowe bidding his goodbyes. Jake Mangum did similar things on Twitter, saying thank you to the Rays organization. He also, Mangum, getting into the hearts of Pittsburgh fans, just Pittsburghers in general, saying in response to a comment on his original post, I love sandwiches and I love French fries, so that sounds amazing. Welcome to Pittsburgh, Mangum. You're going to love it here. Brandon Lau also commented on getting traded to Pittsburgh, had a Zoom meeting or Zoom media session or phone call with the Pittsburgh media today. The big glaring thing that he said there, said that he feels like there's a real opportunity for a deep playoff push and some playoff baseball in Pittsburgh, a deep season push, I should say, and a playoff atmosphere and baseball in Pittsburgh. The pitching staff is legit. Love that from Lau, because that is why he is here. This team needs to find some success, like, you know, an astronaut needs oxygen right now, because this organization and this fan base, they are starving for some success. To make room for all 3 guys coming back in that trade on Friday, the Pirates designated for assignment Sung-Chae Cheng made a cameo appearance with the Bucks last season. They also designated for assignment Marco Luciano, a utility player they claimed off waivers from the San Francisco Giants earlier in the offseason. So those 2 gentlemen off the 40-man roster, the 3 players, Montgomery, Mangum, and Lowe, now on to the 40-man roster of the Bucks. Also, Mangum, Jake Mangum, went to the same high school as Pirates top prospect Connor Griffin. And the 2, they trained together in the offseason. So making sure Mangum was a part of this deal. Coincidence? I think not. We also heard from Pirates general manager Ben Cherington over the weekend. He had a lot to say about this trade and about some other irons the Pirates have in the fire as well. On the Brandon Lau trade, Cherington emphasized that Lau will be the team's second baseman. There were some rumors and speculations out there. Could Lau be moving to left field to fill in that vacancy there? But Cherington, very adamant, saying, quote, Brandon brings the left-hand bat, home run potential, fit for the ballpark, history of production, and importantly, we believe still the ability to play second base. So Lau will be the team's opening day second baseman. Can play a little bit of outfield, but he will not be going there to start his Pirates career. Cherington also did state that Lau is just one piece. The search for bats continue. Chimed in on the additions of Mangum and Montgomery as well. Really high on Mangum potentially playing into the left field vacancy mix. Also said that Montgomery, he has electric stuff for a left-hander, but right now I don't think he's going to be in the starting rotation. Some other stuff outside that trade, well, kinda here. Cherington said that he had a nice talk with Lau about the trade. You could hear the excitement in Lau's voice coming to Pittsburgh. Also, Lau knows Brian Reynolds. Outside the trade, some other stuff that Cherington brought up over the weekend, said that he feels very good about where the Pirates are in their process of bringing in better players. Said, quote, we're looking forward to doing more, and also iterated that the Pirates haven't hit Christmas yet, and they've already done a lot more than they have in the past, and that there's a lot more to come from them. Onto the team itself, said Jared Triolo, he is taking reps at second base, shortstop, and third base. So really, we do not have any idea where Triolo is going to play to start the year. He might bounce around the infield. And lastly here, Cherington also chimed in on the addition of Gregory Soto. Still love that addition as well. Soto himself, the signing of Soto became official over the weekend. Left-handed reliever, 1 year, $10 million deal. The comment from Soto on coming to Pittsburgh, quote, what I saw in the Pirates was a group of young players with a lot of talent and with the desire to win. And that's something that I've built throughout the years. I've been in the league for a few years now, and I want to come here and contribute to that. So awesome stuff there from Gregory Soto. He's going to be a back end of the bullpen type guy for the Pirates, I would think. More on the Pirates and rumors around them today and potential moves they could make. The big name being talked about a bunch today is Kazuma Okamoto from Japan, right-handed hitting first baseman, plays a little bit of third as well, I think. According to MLB trade rumors, so take this for what it's worth, the Pirates reportedly have had multiple virtual meetings with Okamoto, and according to Robert Murray, who's an MLB insider for Fansided, Okamoto is near the top of the list of free agent targets for the Pirates. John Heyman, another MLB insider, saying that the team for Okamoto could be the Pirates. Other players being mentioned to the Pirates here over the past couple of days and hours, as a matter of fact. Ryan O'Hearn, first baseman, designated hitter. Lefty brings some pop to that side of the plate. He has been rumored to the Pirates. Marcell Ozuna as well, DH for the Atlanta Braves. Had a bit of a down year last year, but he still has some pop left in his bat. He rumored to the Bucks as well. My opinion, though, yesterday we saw a move made by the Chicago White Sox of all teams. They took a guy who I thought would have been near the top of the priority list for the Pirates off the market. Third baseman Munetaka Murakami from Japan, just like Okamoto. He signed a 2-year, $34 million deal with the White Sox. 25 years old, brings some home run power because I think he set a single season home run recorded over in Japan. That to me that contract, very, very gettable for the Pirates. But for me now, third base, still probably the biggest hole on the roster. I would go Eugenio Suarez or Alex Bregman or bust for the Pirates because as much as I love Triolo and his glove, cannot have him be the starting third baseman on opening day. The last thing here on the day for the Pirates and stuff relating to them. There was a trade made yesterday as well between the Boston Red Sox and Pirates division rival St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals trading first baseman Wilson Contreras and $8 million to the Boston Red Sox. In exchange, the Cardinals getting back young right-handed pitcher Hunter Dobbins and two prospect pitchers Yoinker Fajardo and Blake Ida. So the Cardinals trading away their starting first baseman, also sending money along with him to help cover his massive $41 million salary. I think the Cardinals, they are rebuilding, and I'd like to see the Pirates maybe not look as terrible against them as they usually do. Also, last thing, the White Sox, after adding Murakami yesterday, apparently they also are opening up more and more to trading outfielder Luis Robert Jr. I would love the Pirates to add Robert Jr. He is a center fielder, but if you can get him to play left field and add that bat to the lineup, would love that. Unfortunately, though, the Pirates not mentioned in much rumors about Robert. Instead, the top two teams right now, the New York Mets, which wouldn't be shocked in the slightest if he goes there, and this one I hate, the division rival, probably the biggest division rival of the Bucks, the Cincinnati Reds, as well, are in on Robert. So that's that there for the Pirates. On to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just a few extra sports news stuff from them today. We got an update back on Saturday from Adam Schefter. Talked about it before yesterday's game on that live stream, but I'll reiterate it here. Adam Schefter with a not really update on TJ Watt. His tweet here, after missing 2 games due to a partially collapsed lung, TJ Watt's return to play remains murky and uncertain per sources. Watt's focus has been on getting healthy from his partially collapsed lung. Returning to play is secondary and has not been his focus. Doctors will assess how he feels next week to see if there's even a chance to play in week 17, but ideally Watt gets more time to recover from his lung injury that resulted in him missing Sunday's game versus Detroit. So that is the latest from Adam Schefter on TJ Watt. Not a whole lot of new information there. We do know Watt's just focusing on getting healthy first and foremost, and that his timetable of a return is TBD. Jerry Dulac, though, I know Pittsburgh Pirates writer for the Post-Gazette, he had something said in one of his recent articles on TJ Watt saying that there is the possibility that Watt could practice this week. Doubt he plays against the Browns, but could be a chance that he comes back to the practice field. That would be a step in the right direction. Not sure how much of a step, though. Got to test out that lung sometime. So if he comes back out and practices here at some point this week, maybe that'll be a positive sign that he could play week 18 if that game becomes important, or at the very least, him practicing would be a huge morale booster for him being ready for playoffs. Some other things here, keeping a tab on the Steelers division rivals and what they again did this weekend. Cincinnati Bengals, not much to care about them and what they do anymore. They beat the Miami Dolphins 45-21 down in Miami. That was in Cincinnati, excuse me. They beat the Dolphins yesterday. The most news story worthy thing around the Bengals right now, Schefter 2 days ago also put out there that the Dolphins apparently offered 4 first-round picks to the Cincinnati Bengals for Joe Burrow before the draft in 2020. So those two teams meeting, Schefter just dropping that nugget there, saying that the Dolphins were going to sell the farm for Joe Burrow. Not sure if that would have worked out for Miami, but also something I know for sure didn't work out. They had the chance to draft Justin Herbert, and instead they took to turn the ball over. Back here to the Cleveland Browns, they were in action yesterday as well. They lost 23-20 to the Buffalo Bills. The Bills still stacking wins. They might be the top wild card and would come to Pittsburgh if that's the case. The thing most noteworthy for the Browns right now, yesterday watching that game, Myles Garrett was given a Mickey Mouse half a sack because he just barely touched Josh Allen, who gave himself up and was touchdown first by Mason Graham. So the NFL, they are really stretching it to give Myles Garrett the sack record here. I think he needs a half sack to tie TJ Watt and Michael Strahan, or tie TJ Watt and Strahan. He needs a full sack, I think, to break the record. So Garrett, I don't care. I hope the Ravens lose, so that game doesn't matter. If that's the case, we are putting 3 to 4 guys on Myles Garrett at all time because we are not going to have him break the sack record against us. And it might be Mason Rudolph if they sit Aaron Rodgers. Imagine that, where Garrett has a chance to break the sack record against the man he has so much history with in Mason Rudolph. Also, wouldn't it be poetic if Myles Garrett, who signed on the dotted line an eternity of hell in football hell known as Cleveland, if he breaks the sack record, if he does, would be hilarious if he does that while the Steelers are celebrating winning the division. Be really the ultimate showing of personal success over career over team success right there. One more thing on the Browns. Hate seeing it. Prayers to Quinshon Judkins. Popped his leg a pretty bad way in that game we saw as well. The last thing here, told you we'd come back to the Ravens. Flacco in the comment section. There you go. Get your F the Ravens out now. The Ravens last night losing to the New England Patriots. They have now, the Ravens, blown 11 games when leading by 7 or more points in the fourth quarter. That is most in the NFL in a 5-year span. Since 2021, the Ravens losing double-digit games when leading by 7 or more in the fourth quarter. Or excuse me, now it's 12. Excuse me, I saw the graphic from last night. It was 11 then. Now it's 12. So the Ravens never stop being hilarious. As a reminder, Lamar Jackson did get hurt as well. So Tyler Huntley finished the second half of that game. John Harbaugh said it was a serious contusion to the back of Jackson. He is day-to-day. But the Ravens now, even more so, out of control of their own destiny. They are a loss to the Packers away, or a Steelers win over the Browns away from being eliminated from the playoffs, and the Steelers winning the AFC North. And also, by the way, did y'all see the whole firework mishap as well from the Ravens? That was crazy. A mortar shot onto the field pregame that almost hit a poor ball boy, I think. So that was pretty scary. Last thing here on the Steelers. I try to keep up with these half the time. Jaylen Warren, apparently, he got fined $17,000 for illegal use of the helmet against a Miami Dolphins player back on Monday. No idea what play that was, but I'm sure Warren and his hefty payday will take care of that. Wrapping up the extra Pittsburgh sports news here for the day real quick. Wrapping up with some Penguins news. Just a reminder that also on Friday, we got word the Pittsburgh Penguins officially sold from Fenway Sports Group to the Hoffman family of companies. FSG will be retaining a small portion of the stake in the team until the transition can be fully completed. We got a statement from multiple people of the Hoffman family of companies and Fenway Sports Group. Jeff Hoffman, CEO of the Hoffman family of companies, saying when the opportunity arose, the Hoffman family wanted to jump on it. They've been loving hockey family. They've been a long-loving hockey family. They wanted to get a professional team. They had a minor team in the ECHL's Florida Everblades, but they are excited to get the Penguins back to the pinnacle of the NHL with Kyle Dubas at the helm. CEO Sam Kennedy of Fenway Sports Group also chimed in on this. We did not see this on Friday. Quote, during a formal process to explore investor interest in the Pittsburgh Penguins, we were approached by the Hoffman family with an offer that warranted serious consideration. From our earliest conversations, their love of the sport and their commitment to doing things the right way made it clear they would be thoughtful stewards of the franchise, which is why we chose to seriously consider their interest. We plan to work closely with them to ensure a smooth transition and to carry forward the momentum that has been built. It's been an honor to be a part of the Penguins story, working alongside world-class leadership team, working alongside a world-class leadership team, passionate fans, and a dedicated community. We are proud of the strong foundation we've built, and with Kyle Dubas continuing to lead the hockey operations, the Penguins will be well positioned to carry out a plan in place to reclaim their place as perennial Stanley Cup contenders. So that is the final word. We will probably hear from Sam Kennedy, the former owner of the Penguins, from Fenway Sports Group, on his way out the door. The last couple things here on the Pens for the day. We heard over the weekend a couple more things on the Pens and some trades they could be making down the stretch here towards the trade deadline. Frank Saravalli said, quote, that he would think Brett Kulak would generate some relatively significant interest at the trade deadline from other teams. No crap. Every other insider has said it, though Saravalli, he has been the only guy to put a price tag on Kulak, and he's thinking, you're thinking minimum second round pick for Pittsburgh if you're going to flip him. A minimum second round pick for Brett Kulak. Kyle Dubas, you start up high at a first round pick and you work your way down from there, because that is some serious dough for a guy on an expiring contract. I'd pull the trigger immediately if that were the case. The other trade rumor or speculation out there for the Penguins from Chris Johnston of The Athletic. He says that the Penguins as an organization, they are focused on getting younger. Brian Rust, a guy he is naming as a prime asset that could be traded and help the process of the Pens getting younger along. So Rust, again, being brought up in trade discussions here. We'll see what happens if Crosby's guy gets to stay or not through the March, I believe, deadline. We'll see. The last few things here on the Pens, small. Will Horkoff, Pens prospect, lighting up the NCAA this year. He, with Team USA in the World Junior preliminary tournament, scored his first goal for Team USA the other night. Wicked one-time shot from him. And also the Pens division rival in the Columbus Blue Jackets, they got better over the weekend, making a Saturday trade with the Seattle Kraken, acquiring forward Mason Marchment for a second and fourth round pick. The Jackets get another forward depth, and that was the final move that an NHL team has made since December 20th, because from the 20th through the 28th of this month, NHL rosters freeze for the holiday. No trades, waivers, or loaning between the AHL and NHL can be made. Only emergency recalls and such can be made. So whoever you got on your roster is who you got between now and near the end of the year. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 10 of you still hanging around in here. Going to take one last stroll here through Twitter, see if we have anything of note to talk about before we read your final comments and hop off for the night. Do have some news here. The Steelers, they are going to get the same crew that they had yesterday for their Week 17 matchup with the Cleveland Browns. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson will be in Cleveland to call Steelers-Browns. Was wondering if it was going to be Nantz and Romo or Ian Eagle and J.J. Watt. Instead, those guys, they get to travel down to Carolina to cover the Panthers and Seahawks. Seeing if there's anything here that's left this just 25 minutes ago from Frank Saravalli on the Penguins. Stuart Skinner, a potential flip. Brett Kulak, a potential flip. Probably a likely one. Rickard Rakell and Brian Rust. So there's Rakell as well mentioned with Rust as a possible trade candidate. They've resisted the urge, says Saravalli, to make those moves before, and they were asking for really significant pieces. Well, I'd still be asking for that same price tag. So let's do that. All right. Not seeing much else here, ladies and gentlemen. It's mostly more DK Metcalf stuff like that. The Pirates, they just made a minor league signing. They're bringing in outfielder Dominic Fletcher on a minor league deal, 28 years old, 12 games in the majors with the White Sox last year, but in AAA a 770 OPS. Interesting. It's a nice little minor league pickup, in my opinion. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is just about going to wrap things up here tonight on stream for over 2 hours. I knew this was going to be a big stream here tonight. Last couple of comments. Flacco coming in here before the night is over. He, with the hashtag free DK and F the Ravens, as always, for concepts. And their F the Ravens and their 10% chance. Love that there. Concepts here. Did you see the on the stat sheet that I was awarded a half sack yesterday, even though I wasn't at the game? Your name was listed too. We're all awarded a half a sack. Sorry for the recycle joke. Nope, I love it. Myles Garrett awarded that Mickey Mouse half sack. Tell me they don't want him to break the sack record. Yeah, really feels odd. It was not a sack, and then it was Mason Graham's sack, and then Myles Garrett got thrown on there too somehow. Myles technically needs 24 to break the record. TJ's 23.5 is elite. Can't help that. Yeah, TJ, if they're counting that half a sack for Myles Garrett, like I said yesterday, then TJ Watt's sack of Tyler Huntley a few years ago when Huntley picked up the bad snap and was still looking to throw, then that should have been counted as a sack as well. And also, didn't Watt miss 2 games that season? So Watt technically tied the sack record in 16 games. Watt, it's going to take Garrett maybe 17 to do that as well. So always something to spin it back in our favor there. Agreed there, says Lance. I'm buying a Dylan Cook jersey if he targets a knee. I won't clarify for legal reasons. I mean, in the gym for strength training. Jesus. No intent to injure here, but Dylan Cook does shut down Myles Garrett. Hell, I might even get his jersey. We should sign Perfect and put him at tight end next week. I would tolerate. I won't elaborate, but 2 + 2 = 4. Talking about taking a dirty player to a dirty player, that'd be like, you know, if you had Thanos fighting Darth Vader right there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is going to wrap things up here tonight on stream for nearly 2 hours and 15 minutes. And knew it was going to be long. That long, though, wasn't expecting. But hey, with the Metcalf suspension, I knew that this was going to be a long stream where a bunch of you were going to have a lot to talk about. So I want to thank you all for those of you who stopped by, those who stayed for the most part, and those of you who stayed throughout the show here tonight. We're going to wrap things up there. Update on what the week ahead is going to look like. Said it yesterday. I'll reiterate it again here. Tomorrow, it'll be another normal day. We'll have a live stream. We'll talk about Mike Tomlin's press conference and anything else going on. We'll have an SCSR 60 tonight and tomorrow night as well. However, at the very least, Wednesday and Thursday, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, there is not going to be anything planned here on the channel. We'll leave Friday open to see if there's any sort of massive news to talk about there that happens over Christmas. I don't know. We will see. Tomorrow, normal day. Wednesday, Thursday, we are off here on the channel. Friday, we will leave TBD right now. We will leave that coin flip flipping up in the air for the next 72 hours. So with that, Gonna wrap things up here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for stopping in, stopping by, leaving your comments in the comment section, liking this live stream, leaving, subscribing to the channel as well. Taking one last quick subscriber look here. We are up to 667 subscribers on the channel, so please be sure to hit subscribe on your way out if you have not done so. It's going to do it. Final time, subscribe, turn on notifications, like, share, leave a comment. Go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and come back eventually later on tonight. I don't know when, for SCSR 60. Thank you. Have a good rest of your Tuesday night, or Monday night, excuse me. Back here tomorrow on Tuesday for more Pittsburgh sports news. Peace.